junk. Space Junk Theater.
Admiral Cauldron here on Space. Wait a minute. I'm not going to lie to anybody. I'm a custodian. We're all custodians. A couple days ago, we were maintaining the space ship, and we had a little party out back in the cargo room, and, well, we passed out. And guess what? We woke up the next day, and everyone left. They forgot about the custodians, and here we are, stuck up in a big floating pile of space junk. And you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna take over and make the best of it and try to help out in any way we can.
Hey, crew!
What's up? What?
How high above the Earth are we orbiting?
I think like 4 miles?
I don't know.
2 miles.
I have no idea.
Higher than that?
I hope it's more than 100 miles.
Why?
Well, if not, every time we fly over Massachusetts, I'm violating a restraining order.
Oh.
We're out of control.
You know, sometimes people get really clumsy, but one thing we don't want to do is be a bungle. Bungle. Not good, not good, not good.
Just before lunch one day, a puppet show was put on at school. It was called Mr. Bungle Goes to Lunch. It was fun to watch. In the puppet show, Mr. Bungle came to the boys' room on his way to lunch. He looked at his hands. His hands were dirty, and his hair was messy. But Mr. Bungle didn't stop to wash his hands or comb his hair. He went right to lunch. Then, instead of getting into line at the lunchroom, Mr. Bungle pushed everyone aside and went right to the front. Even though this made the children laugh, no one thought that was a fair thing to do. Then, in the lunchroom, Mr. Bungle was so clumsy and impolite that he knocked over everything, and no one wanted to sit next to him. And when he finally knocked his own tray off the table, that was the end of the puppet show. The children knew that even though Mr. Bungle was funny to watch, he wouldn't be much fun to eat with. Phil knew that a Mr. Bungle wouldn't have many friends. He wouldn't want to be like Mr. Bungle.
Being an admiral's a lot of pressure. You know, I didn't ask for this position. I actually adopted it. I mean, we got stuck up here.
We're out of control.
Admiral Cauldron, quickly, check out the monitor.
What is it, Captain Cough?
Look!
Everybody, I want you on deck now. Report to deck.
I'm here.
What is it? General Maintenance, report.
Well, I see something.
That's it, something.
It's a thing and it's some.
Captain Cough, report, please.
We're out of control.
Yes, you. Don't touch that dial. Put that clicker down. There's nothing better on. It's a wasteland on those other channels. Instead, watch this.
I'm Football One, Mattel's lowest price electronic football game.
And I'm electronic quarterback, Coleco's lowest price.
I run from the line of scrimmage.
I start in the backfield and follow my blockers.
Blockers? I don't have any blockers.
I got 7 men on defense.
7? I've only got 5.
I can even pass.
I can't pass.
My receiver runs short, long, any pattern.
Pattern? I don't even have a receiver.
Or I can score a safety.
Safety?
Coleco's electronic quarterback. A lot more football for the money.
Report, people, report. I hear clinking down in the engines. What's happening?
Well, you know what? I'm getting hungry. What about you guys?
Oh,
You getting hungry?
yeah,
Time to eat?
my stomach cake is ebbing.
All right, well, let's go.
All right.
Wait a minute.
What?
Did you guys all comb your hair before lunch?
Well, I got my hat on. I can't.
You know you're supposed to comb your hair.
Oh, yeah,
before lunch.
I
You
did.
comb your hair, wash your hands.
Those are just good manners.
That's it. Don't be a bungle.
Later, Miss Brown said it was time for the children who ate in the cafeteria to go to lunch. She hoped there weren't any Mr. Bungles in this room. Phil almost walked past the boys' room, but he stopped and thought. Were his hands clean? No, they were a little dirty. Phil remembered that Mr. Bungle didn't wash his hands. Mr. Bungle's hair was messy, too. Phil didn't want to be like Mr. Bungle. Inside the boys' room, Phil washed his hands well, with lots of soap. And then he made sure that his hair looked neat. Now, Phil and his friends were ready for lunch. There was a line of children waiting to get into the lunchroom when Phil got there. He saw some boys he knew at the front of the line. They waved for him to go up to the front with them. But Phil didn't want to break into line as Mr. Bungle did. So Phil went to the end. That was the fair thing to do. He would see his other friends inside the lunchroom.
So anyway, we have all kinds of fun and action tonight. There's so much to look forward to tonight.
That was interesting how that Mr. Bungle showed us the proper manners for eating and preparing the hygiene and cleaning up and letting people go ahead of you in the line at the cafeteria.
We're out of control.
Whoa! Whoa! I want you to yell too. Whoa! Whoa!
Whoa!
Oh my God! Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
Who's driving this thing?
According to Dr. Hassline's theory of time in a vehicle traveling nearly the speed of light, the Earth has aged nearly 700 years since we left it.
Oh,
Whoa!
that's some guy.
Is that Charlie?
Not Charlie.
Charles? Whoa!
Charlton. It's Charlton.
The men who sent us on this journey are long since dead and gone.
Hess.
Charlton?
Hess.
Charlie?
You who are reading me now are a different breed. I hope a better one.
Oh, I know. Charlton Heston, Planet of the Apes.
Oh!
Yeah. Right.
Well,
Clint.
he can't drive.
The line moved very fast, and soon Phil was inside. First, he picked up his tray. Then he got his silverware. He put his knife, fork, and spoon neatly on the tray. And then he slid his tray along. Instead of having a sandwich today, Phil decided to take the hot lunch. Phil took some bread and butter, too, and he knew what else he wanted, milk. But Alice took the last carton on the tray. Maybe there was more milk, so he said, "May I please have some milk?" Phil remembered to say, "May I?" and "please." That was very polite. Yes, there was more milk. Phil remembered to say, "Thank you," when he took the carton of milk. Phil had good manners. He didn't want to be like Mr. Bungle in the lunchroom. Phil didn't want to forget his dessert. The cake looked delicious. At the end of the line, the lunchroom supervisor said she had noticed how polite Phil was, and she smiled at him. She wouldn't smile at a Mr. Bungle.
Welcome to Space Junk Theater. Here we are again. And you know, I've been looking and looking and looking. Just unbelievable. You know, we have so much stuff up here. You never know what you're going to find. We have a cargo bay, the main engine room. We have the steering gauge center. We have the beamer type. So, you know, here at Space Junk Theater, there's always something. We're always looking for something. Look at this. They're looking for
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for a stag beer myself.
a stag.
Yum, yum, yum.
Yum, yum,
Actually, have
yum.
you ever had one? I've never tried one.
No, don't jump, sir. You missed the boat. Missed the boat? Nonsense. Missing stag beer is missing the boat. Every drop, every sip, Every swallow gives complete refreshment. That's stag beer.
Let's get back to some serious business here. Lost in Space, unbelievable show. I remember the first one. I think the first one or two were in black and white.
Here now is the Jupiter 2. The culmination of nearly 40 years of intensive research makes possible man's thrust into deep space and will soon set out on its quest for a new world.
At exactly launch plus 8 hours, inertial guidance system, destroy. Radio transmitter, destroy. Cabin pressure control system, destroy.
And that bumbling booby Dr. Smith, oh, the pain, the pain.
Oh, the pain. The pain. Oh, the pain. The pain. 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 Oh. The pain. The pain.
Wait a minute, Captain Koff, what are our coordinates?
We're lost in space. Sounds like a TV show.
Status control on Jupiter 2. As of this moment, the spacecraft has passed the limits of our galaxy. It's presumed to be hopelessly lost in space.
Major Minor, check the viewfinder and see what the heck is going on outside. I feel shaking. What?
Look in the monitor, look in the monitor!
General Monitor!
Hey, you guys seen Major Minor?
Majorly speaking, now that I am minoring, no.
You know, the last time I saw him, he was in the lunchroom.
We're out of control!
Oh!
Did Mr. Bungle show him the proper manners?
I know Mr. Bungle showed him something.
Mr. Bundles!
Phil went to the table where his friends were. He put his tray down carefully, pulled out his chair quietly, and sat down. He knew his friends wouldn't like a noisy Mr. Bungle at their table. Before Phil began to eat, he always put a napkin on his lap. Phil noticed how straight and tall Freddie usually sat. Freddie kept his feet on the floor, too. Another polite person everyone liked was Alice. For example, when Alice sneezed, she covered her mouth and nose. This protected her friends at the table from any germs. While Phil and his friends ate, a boy ran past their table. You shouldn't run in the lunchroom. Only Mr. Bungle would do that. Phil and his friends wouldn't like to have a Mr. Bungle at their table. Then lunchtime wouldn't be as much fun as it is. Phil ate slowly and enjoyed his lunch. Finally, he had eaten everything except his dessert. He saved his cake for last. Only a Mr. Bungle would eat his dessert before he'd finished the rest of his lunch. And Phil wasn't a Mr. Bungle. Everyone at the table cleaned his own place well. But look at that table. It was left very messy. Phil thought a Mr. Bungle must have sat there. But Phil didn't want to be like Mr. Bungle, so he put his chair neatly into place. And his table looked fine. Not a piece of paper or scrap of food was left on it. No, Mr. Bungle sat here.
Okay, so how did it go? What's going on? What was it?
I don't know. Captain Koff, report!
Who's in the bathroom? I've been in there for an hour. Look!
Get more guns!
Pure cosmic force with antimatter core. It has anger. It will destroy us.
Warning, warning, warning. Robot.
General maintenance.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was talking to the robot, you know, and it went to a doctor's appointment, and I'll tell you, it was really scared. It had a tumor, but they found out it was benign.
Well, space junk.
You know, I showed the robot my little device here, and I said, I don't know, it's broken, the battery's out, and you know what the robot told me?
What?
It does not compute. It does not compute. It does not compute.
Warning, warning!
Will Robinson! Will Robinson!
The Dark crystals!
Emergency protective circuit activated. Warning, 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 warning. Extraterrestrial life form approaching. Well, there. Warning, warning. Alien aircraft approaching.
Hey, remember that monkey, Bloop?
Bloop! 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 Come here, Bloop! Penny loved Bloop.
Yeah, that was a good little monkey.
Great monkey. They used to monkey around out in the engine room when
And I always wanted to monkey around with Marta Kristen.
Yeah, there you go. Monkey see, monkey do.
Take your sticking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
That does not compute.
You computerized cloud, jabbering Judas, bumbling bird brain, tattling coward.
From Kitty Hawk to Cape Kennedy. NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, presents Aeronautics and Space Report.
This is astronaut Edward White as he stepped from the Gemini 4 craft into space. He and James McDivitt then flew on for 4 days, completing our longest space trip yet. Next, Gemini 5, with veteran astronaut Gordon Cooper assigned as command pilot. Cooper's 22-orbit mission ended Project Mercury.
Hey! Didn't, like, before you were a janitor and you worked here, didn't you work at a store?
Yes, I worked in a store, and they were looking for a new cashier.
Oh.
They had just hired a new cashier. That's the one they're looking for.
You never know what to find. You'll get on Space Junk Theater. Here we are. Hope you're enjoying everything here. You'll never know what to expect on this piece of junk floating in outer space.
Energize.
Gemini 5 is planned for 7 days, 112 orbits. Sharing the piloting duties will be Charles Pete Conrad. Like all the Mercury and Gemini pilots before him, astronaut Conrad spends much of his time in training. While in orbit, the two men will conduct a variety of experiments. These include a checkout of computer and radar equipment to be used on the first rendezvous and docking maneuvers. And from a vantage point similar to this, they will take pictures of cloud cover and selected parts of the Earth. Gemini 5 is the second long-duration mission and the third in a series of manned space flights, which are preparing the way for future journeys to the moon.
I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. Just kidding. We got a whole cargo full of beer and stuff. Woo! I love being stuck up in outer space. Woo!
Final cut, hopefully.
Final cut. Take 50. Admiral Cauldron, Buzz Cauldron here. Look, I'm just a custodian, but I know we have access to all kinds of cool stuff like this gun. I don't know exactly how to use it, but you know what? Let's test it. Captain Cough, front and center, please. Sorry.
Where'd he go?
The cough reflex is stimulated by dust entering the air passages of the lungs. With the glottis fully open, deep inspiration occurs. The glottis then closes. The lungs contract, compressing the air. As the glottis opens, the air is released, producing a cough.
Phil's friends were careful to put their waste papers and empty milk cartons where they belonged. In this way, they helped keep the lunchroom clean. Phil was certain that Mr. Bungle wouldn't put his paper in the waste basket and his empty carton on the milk tray. Mr. Bungle probably wouldn't bother to put his lunch tray in the right place either, but Phil and his friends did. And then Miss Brown told Phil and his friends how proud she was of them. They had left their table the neatest in the lunchroom. No one here was a Mr. Bungle, and no one wanted to be. Are you like Mr. Bungle? Mr. Bungle is a shame because he spoils lunchtime. Don't be like Mr. Bungle. Have good lunchtime manners, and lunch will be more fun for everyone.
So continue. Where are the guns?
That's a blue. I have weapons.
Who wants one?
They don't look like much, but they really pack a punch. So be careful.
Captain Cough.
Be careful.
Captain Cough, what did you report? What's outside? What are we fighting? What are we defending?
It looks like a combination of Ghidra, Mothra, Reptilicus, and Rodan.
There it is! Aim! Fire! 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 Ah! Great job, crew. I'm proud of you. We defeated the enemy. Captain Cough, report?
Somebody's still in the bathroom. I don't know who it is.
I'll go check.
Major Miner's gonna check, and General Maintenance, so I need an update.
We're out of control.
Grown-ups get all the breaks.
Sure, but now you can have your own shooting gallery with the Electro-Shot Shooting Gallery by Marks. Feel the firepower. Squeeze off shot after shot with this electric rifle. And look, press the switch, and you've got a rapid-fire submachine gun. Reloads itself, too. And what a wild choice of targets. Bag a lion, if you dare. Clang the bell, if you can. Rock the clown, but he's no pushover. The automatic scorekeeper shows you how sharp you are. Or are you? Try again. A bullseye. Pick off the revolving ducks. Watch them go down. Well, sometimes. Spin the Traveler. What a challenge for everyone. 8 wild, clanging, spinning, bouncing, scoring targets. Get the Electro-Shot Shooting Gallery by Marks.
What's going on? Okay, we gotta check. Something's happening. What's going on? I need a checkpoint. The ship's shaking. What's going on? What's going
What's
on?
all this stuff broken? The flux capacitor, this thing over here, I don't know what that is. Look, what is this thing? This was jamming the controls.
Whoa.
Hey, who built this thing?
I think I have an idea. Look what...
What is that was clogging up the controls.
Russia.
What is it?
The Russians must have built it. That flag stinks.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. You never know what you're going to see here on Space Junk Theater. You never know what's coming up in the next segment here on Space Junk Theater. You know, people seem to forget, way up here in outer space, there's gravity. We're just floating around all the time. You know, we take it easy up here. You can fall asleep and take a nap when in the middle of doing some kind of a work. And by the way, you know, up here at Space Junk Theater, we value what you do when there's a break or an intermission or a commercial, because we want you to go to the kitchen. We want you to go get a nice cold soda or a nice cold drink. We want you to get a nice snack. We want you to sit back down, just like the old days, back in the day when people used to sit around in front of the TV sets, the big black and white television sets.
Yes, sir. May I help you?
I'd like 2 of those, please.
Hot dogs? Yes, sir.
And 3 of those. And 1 of those. And 5 bars of these. And a cup of that nice hot liquid.
Coffee. Coming right up.
Oh, and 2 bags of those peculiar white fluffy material.
You mean our crunchy popcorn? Shall I wrap that for you, sir?
Oh, that's all right. My saucer's just outside.
They come from miles to enjoy our intermission.
I have a cousin. She works down at Mission Control.
Really?
I'm going to see if she can help us get back to Earth. She said, I'm her cousin, twice removed. And they said if I ever return, they'll have me removed the 3rd time.
Woo! Never know on Space Junk Theater. That was Captain Cough at his best.
We're out of control. You know what? As bad as it is being stuck up here on Space Junk Theater, there's one benefit. Because down on Earth, I weigh about 300 pounds. Here, I weigh 0.
Yeah, you know, you want to lose some weight? Here's Space Junk Theater. We can help you. We got advice. We have offices open up all around the solar system. You want to lose some weight? Come on up. You're going to lose out. We only charge $50,000 a pound. So again, get on a scale, get in our spaceship, come on up to visit us, and then we'll do the math, and you can write the check right then and there.
We're out of control.
Here at Space Junk Theater, we open our doors to all alien beings out there. And by the way, General Maintenance, any reports of any strange occurrences?
No, I have research on the weight loss. Now,
weight loss.
I found an old clip, and it says that if you drink a lot of Coca-Cola, you'll lose a lot of weight. So I think we should just drink a lot of Coke on top of the other things we drink, you know?
Things go better with Coke.
You know, this was me 5 years ago, and it's still me. As I confess, I'm a waistline watcher from way back. Well, that's enough for today. Now for a lively lift. Ice-cold Coca-Cola. There's no waistline worry with Coke, you know. Actually, this individual-sized bottle has no more calories than half a grapefruit. Lively, lifty Coca-Cola provides a welcome bit of quick energy between meals. Makes for a pleasant pause in a busy day. Oh, and remember, Coke is low in calories, too. Say, now, don't you get any thinner.
Think of Penny. Think of all the great movies she could have made if she wasn't lost in space. I mean, she just made Sound of Music. She was one of the Von Trapp kids. And then she gets up into space, and that's it for movies. Until the 80s, she appeared on Law and Order. Earth to Space Station Mir. Earth to Space Station Mir. This is ground control. Do you read me? What's going on up there, Mir? Where are you? Can you hear me, Mir? What do you got, vodka up there?
Yeah. I never see this light go on before.
What do all these numbers mean?
Why don't we pull up stakes and move to Skylab?
Now it's no secret that the Mir spacecraft ain't nothing but a Russian-made flying death trap. In the void of space, eternally vast, the cosmonauts, they still manage to crash. Look out above! Will manage to crash. Look out above! Incoming! Look out above!
The sky is falling!
Look out above! Bang! Zoom right to the moon! A crew flew up to the commie space station that leaks out air and lets in radiation. Couldn't get much help from ground control when the Spectre main module sprung a leaky hole. Look out above!
Why is the Earth so close?
Look out above!
Man, my head is spinning.
Look out above!
The whole room is spinning.
Look out above! Honey, there's a crater in the front yard. You wouldn't get me up in that area, Edsel. What the heck were they thinking?
They should have bought American.
Did you hear about the astronauts that made it to Pluto and sat down on the surface too long?
No.
Oh, they got asteroids.
Hey, what's going on in the monitor over there, by the way?
Hey, look at what? I never saw that before.
General Maintenance! General Maintenance, I need a report. What's going on outside this mess of junk floating in space?
We're out of control.
We did have one scratch on the left fender, and
That was documented before we left.
Check the monitor! Check the monitor!
And the right tail light is out.
All right. Okay, so
Whoa, look!